standard form. So down here, what does it say, word form? 3 and 614 thousandths. So what am I going to put up here? Tell me standard form, numbers. What's my first number? 3. Then what do I put? A decimal, and says decimal. Then what do I put? 614. So I'll write 6, 1, 4. And I need to make sure that my 4 ends up in the thousands place. Is that where my 4 is? And so that's how we write it in standard form. So now let's finish down here in expanded form. It has the 6 times 1/10. What's it missing up front?
3 times 1.
3 times 1. And I'll put all mine in parentheses. I like to keep mine separate. All right, what's my next number? 6 is here. What's my next number? 1. And where's the 1?
100.
In the hundredths place. So 1 over 100. And what's my next number? 4. And what's the 4? What place value position? So 1 over 1,000. That's pretty easy, isn't it? Have to know your place value positions. Exactly, yes. But you have to know ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. You have to know the place value position to the left of the decimal. See, we talked about all that yesterday. We reviewed that yesterday. Is there a once place? What happened to the once? The decimal ate it. Exactly, the decimal ate it. There is no once place. You will never, ever, ever write that. All right, let's look at the next page. The silk spun by a common garden spider is about 3 what? 3/1000ths of a millimeter thick. A commonly used sewing thread is about 3/10ths of a millimeter thick. How does the thickness of the spider silk and the thread compare? So we're going to write the numbers in here. So we're going to put in the spiders, which is 0.003, so 3/1000ths. And then we're going to put in the thread, which is 0.3, 3/10ths. It says here, step 2, count the number of decimal place value positions to the 3 on the 0.3. Here, how many do we have left over? 2. So it's how many fewer decimal places does it have? 2. 2 fewer decimal places means 10 times 10. What's 10 times 10? 100. So that means that 0.3 or 3/10ths is 100 times as much as 3/1000ths. 3/1000ths is 1/100th of 0.3. So that means the thread is 100 times as thick as the garden spider silk, and the thickness of the garden spider silk is 1/100th that of the thread. Just fill that in. I just want you to have the answers in there.
Is that going to be on
Huh?
Is that going to be on the other page? I have a question.
What, baby?
On the, I don't get it because the 3 on 0, 1, 0 whole numbers and 3/10ths, and then the thousandths place where the 3 is. How would the 3/10ths end up being more than the 3/1000ths?
Why is 3/10ths bigger? See, you missed yesterday. The tenths is actually the biggest of the 3 place value positions. See, you missed my drawing. We need to explain to Dawson about my candy bar that we talked about yesterday. Hey, Dawson, These are all decimal numbers, okay? So that means decimals are the same as fractions. Guys, give me just a minute. Let me explain something to it, okay? So when you have, I'm not going to go as big, but I'm going to say I have a candy bar, and I'm going to divide that candy bar into tenths, Dawson. Okay, tenths, which is what's on there. And you can only have 1/10 of the candy bar. So that's all you get, okay? Let's say I have that same candy bar now, and I'm going to divide it now, not into tenths, but I'm going to divide it into hundredths. And we're going to pretend that I'm dividing this up into hundredths, and you can see what's happening to the pieces. What's happening to the pieces? They're getting smaller. So every time your place value position goes another place to the right, your size is getting smaller. So would you rather have 1/10 of a candy bar or 1/100th of a candy bar? Okay. Would you rather have 100th of a candy bar or 1,000th of a candy bar? So you see, every time you add a 0, your piece gets smaller. Okay? You weren't here yesterday too, so does that make a little bit more sense? Every time you go past the place value position, past the decimal, another place value position, your part's getting smaller. And when we get into real fractions, I think it's even in the next chapter, you're going to see about that, about pieces with fractions and the size. All right, let's look at share and show. We're going to work these together. If you work with me, your homework will be less. Did I leave? Oh, here it is. All right, look at share and show. Complete the chart. So we have, read that number to me that's in the chart. Read it to me. Nikki?
3 decimal.
Don't say decimal. We say 3 and. Decimal says and.
3 and 5
Hundred.
524
thousandths. Okay, those of you who weren't here yesterday, listen to this. You have to put an ending word. Your ending word is going to be the place value position your last number's in. So what is our last number in? The thousandths, so that's what you would say. You would read this as a 3-digit number. Remember we talked about periods when we talked about commas? You go 3 numbers, a comma, 3 numbers, a comma, those are called periods. Well, here's where you stop and you look at these. There's 3 numbers there, so you look at that as a 3-digit number. So you would say 524 thousandths. All right, so let's fill in under here. So my 3 is in the ones place, so 3 times 1, what's 3 times 1?
3.
So you would put 3 decimal 0. All right, fill in your chart as we go. Fill in your chart as we go. All right, the 5. Where's the 5? The tenths place. So what's going to go in here?
5
Times 1/10. Remember, these are going to be written as fractions. This is 1/10, this is 1/100th, and this is 1/1000th. Okay? And so what's 5 times a tenth? 0.5 or 5/10. Okay? The 2. The 2's in the hundredths place. So how would I write 200ths?
0 decimal 0 0 0.
Very good. Very good. All right, now, Nikki's going to help me with this one. He was out yesterday. Austin, you were out yesterday too, weren't you? No, here. Jesse, you getting it? All right, let's look at this one. Where's the 4? In the thousandths place. So, Jesse, what would I put in here? What's my value?
4 times 1,000.
1/1000. Okay, Nikki, how would I write this?
0 and 0.
What?
Decimal.
Well, you could say decimal here. I heard you say and. All right, now what?
0 decimal 0 0 4.
Very good. All right, y'all fill in those. Not that hard, is it? Okay, it's one of the easiest things. I think this is fun. All right, when it says write the value of the underlined digit, remember how we took the number that was up there and we wrote it on the line? and everything else turned to zeros. Remember when we did that before? Kind of this one's almost the same, but we have to take the number that's there, and then everything else turns to zeros. So we would put 0.04. My 3 turns to a 0, but do I have to put this 0 here?
No, ma'am.
No. So all you would write would be 4 hundredths. And I want you to write it with your parentheses number. This would be 4 times 1 over, not tens. It's in the hundredths place, so you would write 1 over 100. We're going to add to this one. We're going to put both values. See, here are the values right here. That's 2 different ways to write it. Okay, number 3. What number's there? 2 what? 2 tenths. How would we write 2 tenths?
0.2.
There's 0.2. That's all you have to write. Now I want to do it with the one with parentheses. It would be 2 times 1 tenth. Very good. 2 times 1 tenth.
That's pretty easy.
It is pretty easy. Do number 4 by yourself. I want both of them. First say, what's the value of the number?